Violence broke out during a protest in Port-au-Prince, where thousands took to the streets to demand the resignation of Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Democratic People's Republic of Korea fired a ballistic missile that flew over northern Japan before falling into the Pacific Ocean in the first such incident since 2017. In Russia, the Senate ratified the documents in the incorporation of the Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions into the Russian Federation. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. On Tuesday, before violence broke out during a protest in Port-au-Prince, when thousands took to the streets to demand the resignation of Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry. According to the protesters, there were people with gunshot wounds who were shot by the police trying to break up the demonstration through the presidential and the residential area of Pétionville. Frustrated with lack of fuel and widespread violence that had paralyzed the capital for weeks, people demand the prime minister to step down. Early in September, one of Haiti's powerful gangs blocked access to the country's largest fuel terminal, announcing it will not change their position until Ariel Henry resigns. The scarcity and high cost of living has driven many to poverty and hunger and forced many businesses to shut down, including hospitals. In the United States, the trial against Oath Keepers founder and leader Stewart Rhodes began this Monday in Washington, D.C. Rhodes has been indicted for his involvement in the attack against the U.S. Congress on January 6, 2021, to forcibly stop Joe Biden's confirmation as president. The trial is expected to last between 4 to 6 weeks. It is the first of the several trials that will be followed against far-right groups for anti-government actions. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Nestler said Rhodes and another 5 members of his group have been charged with conspiracy for having stored weapons, ammunition, and hand grenades in a hotel near the U.S. Capitol. Rhodes, age 57, studied law at Yale after leaving the Army and began to radicalize in the mid-1990s. On Tuesday, a new massacre in Cali, Colombia, left 4 dead and 3 injured people, according to local authorities. Cali's police reported that hitmen heavily armed arrived walking to Silo's neighborhood and opened fire against 7 people who were there. The identity of the victims is still unknown, but the mayor of the zone, Jorge Iván Ospina, said that one of them was an old person. Also, he revealed that the 4 victims were men and the 2 injured are women. The incident is probably related with drug trafficking in the area, explained Ospina. This massacre is the 83rd registered in 2022 in Colombia. Since President Gustavo Petro took power, this month has been the last deadly in this order. And the prison crisis deepens in Ecuador. The 8th massacre since 2021 was reported in the Cotopaxi prison number 1, where 15 inmates got killed. The National Service of Integral Attention to Adults Deprived of Liberty and Adolescent Offenders informed that tactical groups of the National Police entered the prison compound located in the city of Latacunga to retake control. Likewise, elements of the armed forces were deployed to guard the perimeter. For the moment, authorities reported 6 wounded inmates who received medical attention at the place. The Ecuadorian Human Rights Secretariat activated the protocol for psychological first aid attention for family members of persons deprived of their freedom. On Tuesday, Peru's National Electoral Office announced the results of last Sunday's municipal and regional elections, in which independent movements won in 16 regions of the country. According to the report, the national parties won in only 3 regions: Somos Perú in Loreto and San Martín in the north, and Avanza País in Madre de Dios on the south. In the second round, it does not seem that the dynamics will vary much, and it is expected that the independent forces will manage to win the regional governments. Last Sunday, October the 2nd, the municipal and regional elections were held at national level to renew the 25 regional governors, 196 provincial mayors, and 1,694 district authorities. The regions of Cajamarca, Moquegua, Cusco, and Piura will have a second round in December, due to the fact that the winners for regional governors did not exceed 30% of the valid votes. In Uruguay, teachers' unions began a nationwide strike against an educational reform and for a higher budget for the sector. The Teachers Association of the University of the Republic declared a nationwide strike beginning on October 4th in coordination with university staff and students to ask for a better salary for professors as well as good study and working conditions. In this context, educators from the Association of Secondary Education Teachers of Montevideo joined the general mobilization to protest also against the educational reform promoted by the president, Luis Lacalle Pou. This union stated that they will participate in the mobilization planned for October the 6th from the University of the Republic to the Legislative Palace. Now we move on to other topics. At the southernmost tip of Chile, also known as the end of the world, the pristine forests give early warning of global climate change, that the planet is suffering. Scientists study the Omora Ethnobotanical Park, home to an immense variety of lichens, mosses, and fungi that are already showing signs of global warming. In this place, every 200 meters, the temperature changes by 1.5 degrees, a very drastic alteration. Records have shown that the local flora has already moved up the mountain. By changing their location, they increase their reproductive cycle, which confirms a minimal climatic alteration in the area, but which could be much greater in other parts of the planet. We'll take a short break now, but first, remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. On Tuesday, Democratic People's Republic of Korea fired a ballistic missile that flew over northern Japan before falling into the Pacific Ocean. The first such incident since 2017 that also marks the longest distance traveled by a date by a North Korean projectile. The latest North Korean test triggered the activation of the civil alert system in several Japanese locations where the population was advised to seek shelter. This is the fifth missile launched by Pyongyang in the last 10 days and a new step in the escalation that has coincided with the joint military maneuvers of Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo. The missile, fired from North Korea's Jeongan province in the north of the country at around 7:23 a.m. local time on Tuesday, reached a maximum altitude of 940 kilometers and traveled a total distance of 4,500 kilometers before falling into Pacific waters, according to the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff. And after North Korea launched a ballistic missile over Japanese territory on Tuesday, Japanese Defense Minister Yasukazu Yamada stated that it could have had an intermediate or longer range.
The fact that it flew as high as 10,000 kilometers and traveled around 4,600 kilometers, that is believed to have a range of those of IRBM, intermediate range ballistic missiles, or longer. This could be the same as the Hwasong-12 missile that North has fired 4 times already in the past.
Yamada also expressed his rejection to the North Korean actions, which he considered absolutely inadmissible.
No matter what the intentions are, North Korea's repeated ballistic missile launches are absolutely impermissible, and we cannot overlook its advancing missile technology.
On Tuesday, a trio of physicists were awarded the Nobel of Quantum Mechanics work. The physicists won the Nobel Prize for discoveries in the field of quantum mechanics that have paved the way for quantum computers, networks, and secure encrypted communication. Alain Specht from France, John Clauser of the United States, and Austria's Anton Zedinger were honored for experiments with entangled photons, establishing the violation of Bell inequalities and pioneering quantum information science, the jury said. Each scientist conducted groundbreaking experiments using entangled quantum states where two particles behave like a single unit even when they are separated, according to the committee, adding that their results have cleared the way for new technology based upon quantum information.
This prize is an encouragement to young people, and I would mention here that the prize would not be possible without more than 100 young people who worked with me over the years and made all this possible, because I alone could not have achieved this. That is quite clear.
Now we move on to other topics. In Russia, the Senate ratified on Tuesday the documents on the incorporation of the Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions into the Russian Federation. The approval of the laws ratifying the accession treaties was voted unanimously by the 153 members of the Council of the Federation, the upper house of the Russian parliament. At Tuesday's session, the chairwoman of the Senate, Valentina Matvienko, stressed that during the referendums, the people of these four territories clearly expressed their position by voting for the return to their true great homeland, Russia. The State Duma, the lower legislative chamber, held a similar vote on Monday, in which all the deputies ratified the accession treaties. Let's review some points of the what the laws of incorporation to the Russian Federation imply. According to the law, residents of the new constituencies are recognized as Russian citizens as of September 30th, the day the regions joined Russia, but they have 1 month to refuse such status. Russian citizens of the four regions will be guaranteed the right to work. Documents on their education and marital status will be recognized, as well as on their length of service and the right to obtain pensions and social and medical assistance. International agreements specify that the borders of the four regions with other countries shall be considered state borders of Russia. The Russian ruble will become the only currency used in the four regions on January 1st, 2023, but the use of the Ukrainian hryvnia will be allowed until the end of 2022. And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In South Africa, a new strain avian flu has been detected on Tuesday in Cape Town by vets of Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds. The penguin colony of the area has been affected already by this rare illness, and experts said that their species are decreasing in number because of that sickness, and stressed that the penguins can't really handle any extra pressures on their population. The International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List showed their concern about this because this species is in danger of extinction. The Boulders Beach near Cape Town is a crucial breeding site in South Africa that have seen a decrease in birds' flocks since last year when the first outbreak occurred. The Palestinian government has warned about the serious repercussions of the intense attacks by Israeli soldiers and settlers against the Palestinian people. The Palestinian presidency condemned the ongoing settlers' attacks against Palestinian citizens, especially on the villages of Hawara, Beira, and Surah. A government spokesperson warned that Israeli occupation forces are continuing with their colonization plan and forced expulsion of the Palestinian citizens, escalating the attacks to war level. The Palestinian Authority appealed to the international community and the United Nations Security Council to intervene and provide protection to the Palestinian people. The Iranian government has condemned U.S. President Joe Biden's support to agitators in Iran and said he is ignoring the U.S. poor domestic human rights record. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nasser Kinani said that for many years the true mask face of the United States has been visible to the world on human rights in Palestine, Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, and Syria. He also recalled that the U.S. has imposed innumerable unprecedented and crippling sanctions against these nations. Kinani stressed that his position on human rights has also been evidenced in his own country, a fact for which he urged him to be more attentive to the situation there. The United Nations World Food Programme launched an appeal for $816 million in aid for Pakistan at a press conference in Islamabad.
The second wave of the humanitarian crisis. What do I mean by that? We're now seeing a real health crisis. It's a health crisis that is, of course, born out of standing water, huge amounts of standing water. It's born out of the fact that there is insufficient sanitation facilities available to all of the people who were displaced.
On Tuesday, media groups and press freedom activists in the Philippines condemned the murder of journalist Percival Mubasa, who was fatally shot near his home in the country's capital. The 63-year-old radio broadcaster, also known as Percy Lapid, was killed by two gunmen on a motorcycle when the journalist was in his car in front of a presidential and residential complex in the Las Piñas area of suburban Manila, according to a police report. His brother, Roy Mubasa, has demanded that justice be done and that these cowardly killers be brought to justice. The reporter has been critical of the government of current President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., as well as his predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte. In a statement, the National Union of Journalists in the Philippines said Mubasa's murder, that accounts as the third such incident so far this year, showed that journalism remains a dangerous profession in the country. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.